So you suspect Houston that's coming out of two straight playoff appearances from 2018 to 2019, finishing over at least one of the top divisional leads for the AFC South for quite a long time, until the Indianapolis Colts spread them out. Even though I thought they had an on and off season, still kept it above 500, and now they're coming over third best off a 12-4 record, with obviously rebuilding tide over now losing J.J. Watt, longtime All-Pro, and DeAndre Hopkins already having a transcendent time with the Arizona Cardinals. He finished over only a total of 6,000 yards. They have turned over the ball. I swear Watson is going to leave. They have meshed over to in first down penalties. They are really lowing down off their touchdown percentage over from last year, and and especially over red zone, because even though their receivers are not bad, Will Fuller and who else they had, dude. I don't think they had the best receiving core in the world, dude. Because I think Carlos Hyde was the only person to produce. They had County, DeAndre Carter, Will Fuller. Just the rushing had to really compensate for their lack. I mean, the only person who produced any decent numbers but couldn't produce anything as a prime threat because he's not a deep threat at all, or he has the size for it, is literally Will Fuller. Played over the most games as a primitive receiver. Now he is the A receiver coming out of most of his plays. David Johnson produced well down the red zone, moved up the floor, had 600, has the most rushing yards coming out of 609, and they win the spread over with at least trying to rotate and keep that depth of foot with veteran halfback Mark Ingram, that was a former New Orleans Saint, and of course Philip Lindsay, young halfback over from Denver, coming out of I think his third or fourth season, and now he got traded up, signed over a 1-year $3.25 million deal with a 500K incentive. Holy crap! So there's really spreading on the floor. If this guy fails, we can trade him over. Well, I think we can provide more on Ingram because he can produce more in a depth piece as well, with David Johnson actually putting up some pretty average numbers up with Houston. And they signed Ryan Finley in a late round pick trade from the Bengals. If you don't remember, he played over the rest of nearly most of the season after Joe Burrow got hurt. I think week 6, after Joe Burrow was putting out some pretty clutch games, even though they always came up losing. So they were really trying to spread over the floor and try to work primarily offensively. When I mean offensively, it's like help the running game, even though our best receiver that we picked up was Dante Moncrief and Andre Roberts for a 2-year deal. I am flabbergasted. I am led astray. I've been seeing some really crap off season, and we went over their overpayment on a former Packers receiver that wasn't even doing that much over in the season, and then wasting David Johnson over for DeAndre Hopkins for a couple late round picks, and now look at who they got to just spread out the floor whenever Watson gets hurt, because that's possibly going to happen again. I don't want that to happen because I find Watson really good, the best quarterback that Houston had since Matt Schaub, and goodness. Tyrod Taylor, he's just the best backup you can provide, and over Ryan Finley that shows a few positives, but he just has the ability of a third string that's practically going to rise up the more the season goes off, with Pharaoh Brown and Ryan Izzo. It just feels like they're picking up depth pieces. And over what they had producing like game losing freaking forced fumbles and unclutching themselves out of playoff precaution, especially over the second half of the season when I think they lost 3 straight when they were actually trying to pick up a good record. They came off losing 5 straight games after going at least winning 3 of their last 4 games after their bye week, and you thought, okay, Houston's finally picking it up, and then they had the Colts, Bears, Colts, Bengals, Tennessee when they were falling short in the second half of the season. You're telling me you couldn't beat at least one of those teams twice? I mean, yes, they picked up some wins against trash teams like New England, Detroit, and especially Jacksonville when they fell in short. I remember when they faced off against Minnesota, choked over down red zone plays. They couldn't hold their own. Minnesota themselves were trash, and they kept it over to overtime. And just watching Texans just choke over games when you know they can play well, move out the ball. Watson's just trying his best not to get sacked all the time over the fourth play because their O-line keeps collapsing. I'm just a bit conflicted. And now you lose your primitive all-time pass rusher, one of your best players to ever wear a Texans uniform, out of J.J. Watt. And it doesn't look like you're producing much defensively. And I think they're going to build over the draft. I can see why they're bonusing around just role pieces. We can look over what they got defensively right now. They picked up Desmond King. Why? Why? Oh, God. They allowed more yardage than they ever got, man. Dude, I'm just shocked. Bill O'Brien just think he can do whatever he wants. Like Desmond King, Travis, Terrence Brooks, Tarir Thomas. I mean, Desmond King, at least he has a noticeable secondary experience, and he shows to be a good lockdown deep corner. Jordan Jenkins, I can understand. Malik Collins and Kamul Kruger Hill, like they're just trying to spread over their linebacking depth with a bunch of no names, and their secondary a bunch of second slot mishmatches of mediocrity. At least the Colts are at least producing with at least a young, promising quarterback over the Eagles doing nothing with Carson Wentz, keeping Marlon Mack and Xavier Xavier Rhodes. There isn't many offseason things they've been doing lately, other than the big signing for Carson Wentz. There's not much going over the Colts, but Houston I'm a bit conflicted about because I thought over the seasons it's like we're finally going to get something out of the AFC South that isn't going to just be a first round knockout. And they made it over the divisional round. Here they are, 4-12, back to where they started, like 2017. I don't want to see that. I mean, the only promising thing we have over this offseason technically is just Philip Lindsay and Andre Roberts, I guess. No, not really, but still, it it's Moncrief. But dude, I just feel like they could have done more. How you guys feel down below? This is coming out of a really, really shoddy regular season from the Texans. So I'm just expecting a bit more. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to hear more of what I got to say sports wise. To subscribe to the DC Network. Thanks for watching.